Have you ever opened up MLS and you pull up a past client's address only to find that they sold their house? It's literally, I don't know how it is for you, but for me, it just makes my stomach drop. It makes me question my worthiness. It makes me question, like, did they not like me? Did I not do a great enough job? Like, it's the worst feeling. But guess what? We don't own our clients. But if this has ever happened to you, this episode is for you. Let's dive in.
You're listening to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast, where we invite you to check your ego at the app, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready to dive into all things real estate marketing, social media, friendship, hardship, love, money mindset, and all the things that celebrate you as a badass boss babe.
We're here to encourage you, show up for you, give you a loving kick in the pants when you need it most, and be your soft place to land on the hardest of days. So pull up a seat at our table and get ready to be inspired and start living your best life by design.
Welcome to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast. We are so excited you're here.
Okay, girls, let's dive in. Okay, just like we're batch recording today, and just like an episode you didn't want to record earlier today, Christy, I feel like that's how I feel about this one, where I'm like, ooh, ouch.
Oh gosh.
It sucks talking about the deals that you lost out on. It like hurts, and
yes.
Some of them like really hurt, and other ones you're like, thank the good Lord. But some of them, like, I really invest in my clients, and a lot of it hurts when it happens.
It's really hard not to take it personal. Right?
Yeah, and it's really, like, it's just business. No, it's not. Like, this really hurts.
It's a very heart-forward business and heart-centered business. So it does. When someone goes and works with someone else, it's a bummer.
Yeah.
Also, it's a really good learning experience for us.
Yes.
Maybe not good, but it's a learning experience for us.
Well, if you're not... I would say earlier in my career, I would just have been left to my own devices and just stewed and ruminated about it for like months or years. There are still some deals like from when I sold real estate in Tampa that I'm still like ruminating about 20 years later. I know. Hashtag therapy. But I think that I have done enough work on myself where now it still stings, but I'm able to ask the question. And then I might have to like brace myself for the answer. But I'm okay asking the question now, because if I don't know what the answer is, then I'm just creating a story, which may or may not be what actually happened. And I can't avoid it in the future if I don't know what I did for that specific scenario.
It's so true. It's like the looking in the mirror and then asking the question to gather the information so then you can maybe do something differently next time.
Yeah.
Or maybe it goes completely unpreventable, right? There's also that. There's so many variables that exist when someone doesn't work with us again. But if we go back to the drawing table and say, did I communicate with them? Was I hitting all the touch points? Was like, do I have my email marketing under control? Am I, do I have a social media presence? Like, am I connecting with them? And am I sending them valuations? Like, am I inviting them to my events? There's so many things that we need to be doing to continue to connect with our clients. And if we drop the ball, someone else is. So like someone else is connecting with them.
Yep.
Someone's connecting with them, even if you are, right? Like if you're sending them a valuation, they've got others, most likely. So like, how can you make sure that you stay on top of the food chain, right? That's, you're the one that they call.
It sounds so cutthroat, but it kind of is.
It is. And when someone does work with someone else, 9 times out of 10, it's an us problem. And that stings and that hurts. And it's just the reality, but we can take it and we can learn, and then we can try to serve even better next time. So, ow. And we've had these experiences. You have had these. I've had, this brings me back to the wedding days where like you would get a wedding client And then they wouldn't book you for their family stuff afterwards. Because, that was how I built my business. Like,
you're like, what?
And I'm like, what?
I photographed like your most important day of your whole life. And now that you're having a baby and all this other thing, now you're calling ABC photographer down the road.
Right. So
what the hell?
It stings though, because it's that personal connection.
Yes.
It's very similar situation. Like, you know them, you like them, like it's this trust, and then they move on. Okay, well, what did I do? And I won't get into that. But like I missed, like the connection points were totally missed. Or like not even letting them know I do that, right? I also, in addition to that, I do this. So like as a realtor, I think this comes up, Beth, where say you have positioned yourself as a really high-end realtor, right? Now, fantastic if you have, and fantastic if that's your market and that's what you're doing. However, do you want to also have like that middle range client? If you do, making sure that you are hitting their pain points, that you're checking in with them at how they need, like the information that they need, and knowing that they're not bothering you and that you still want to work with them, right? Even though they're not buying $1 million, $2 million, whatever the price point is house. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things that are going on that we don't really have control over, of like how someone thinks. We can just show up and make sure that we're providing them the information and sharing with them what we do.
We had this happen, not that we lost a client, but we had a client reach out recently. She just happened upon our podcast. And then when she had listened to a podcast about it was all about spring market, she's like, oh my God, you're speaking directly to my husband and I. Like, how did you do that? And when she reached out, she's like, I found your podcast. This is what I loved about it. But she goes, I have a feeling you don't work with our A in our price point, or B in our location. And I said, okay, well, tell me more. And then I'm like, well, as luck would have it, like we work with all price points because our business all is referral and like comes to us from awesome clients. And then the location was right where I grew up and went to college. So I'm like, yeah, guess what? We do service it. And she's like, I'm so excited to work with you. And Carrie and I, all through that process of working with them, were like, holy cow, if we could clone these clients, we would. They were the best.
It's really cool how the connection of coming in that client and then like all the way to the sale and like it feeling really good just like shows so much. Is like when you show up as you and like when you operate your business and your brand in a way that's really authentic to you and serves your clients, that's who comes in, right?
Yep.
All different price points, but that's who we're getting and that's who we get to work with most of the time. Yeah. But that's like really when you build your business that way, that's who you're going to attract.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have a story. Like we're talking about like losing clients. So a bit ago, I lost some past clients and I had met with them a couple of times. I sold them their house. They were referred from some other past clients, sold them their house. And then they had one kid, and then now they're like pregnant with their second baby, or they were pregnant with their second baby. And they're like, we are ready to sell. And so that had kind of been like dragging on. I'd seen them, I met with them a couple of times, like at their house. I'd gone through the whole list, like, here's all the things that you need to do to get ready to go on the market. And we had actually toured new construction homes because I had talked about buying new construction. And then all of a sudden I got an email, like the wife had been my main point of contact. And all of a sudden I got an email from the husband and he's like, we're just going to like talk to another realtor to get another opinion. And I'm like, please do. I would love if you did. And then all of a sudden I saw that their house had sold. And then they bought a new house. I could reverse engineer and look up the agent. I'm like, well, this is what I suspect the house that they bought. And it just like ate me alive. It sucked so bad. I'm like, oh my God, like there's a time investment, but there's also that emotional investment.
Yes.
Like they're related to other clients that I love. Like this is a couple that like, they're great. That really hurt a lot. And plus the financial piece of it too. And I'm like, ugh. And I was like, I have to, and I saw them at the 4th of July thing. And I'm like, I need to, it was awkward. I felt like it was awkward on my part. I don't know if it was for them, but I'm like, okay, like this, we aren't having this conversation there. Like, I'm not going to be that person. And so I'm like, hey, how are you doing? Blah, all the things. But then I'm like, I have to know what I did wrong, or what went sideways here.
Yeah, for sure.
If I don't know, this is going to eat me alive. And so I sent an email and then push send, and I'm like, like that feeling.
Yeah.
And then nothing.
Oh, the worst.
No response.
The worst.
Nothing. And I'm like, and I just said in the email, I'm like, you guys, like, I have to know, like, and please, like, I can't be better in my business if I don't know, if I can't correct something that I don't know about. Mm-hmm. And then I sat there. I mean, honestly, it was probably like 6 weeks. Oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden Carrie goes, oh my God, you have an email in your inbox from so-and-so. And I'm like, should I read it, or do you need to read it? And she read it and she goes, no, I think you should read it. And then she had sort of perused it, and I read it, and I was like, okay. And they invited me over to their new house. And I'm like, okay, well, they're not going to eat me alive if they're inviting me to their new house. And so I brought, housewarming gift for the house that I didn't sell them. And then I knew they were having a baby. So I brought, BPR onesie, just like all the things. Because that's what I do. Like, I'm like, I'm going to learn something no matter what. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go in like I always do, gifts in hand. And like, that's how I do it. And I got there, and it was, they showed me around their new house, and their little girl was there, and it was super cute, and they have really cute dogs. And then we're like standing around the kitchen table, and we just like ripped the Band-Aid off. And I'm like, and the husband goes, all right, let's just get at it. And I'm like, okay. And he said, when we were seeing new houses, he goes, honestly, it's so weird when we were thinking about it later after we saw your email, and we're sorry we didn't respond right away. It just totally got lost in the shuffle in the move. And I'm like, I'm like, whatever. That's not that big of a deal. I said, I'm just thankful that you responded, because like, I'm dying to know. I need to know. And he said, you didn't say anything bad about any of the houses that we toured.
No.
And I'm like, well, in my defense, we were looking at all new construction homes, and they both burst out laughing, and they're like, yeah, I guess we were.
Well, because so much of it's just personal preference then, right?
Right?
Like, yeah.
And so, not like, I guess like what I took away from that was that even though the houses like looked perfect on the outside, maybe they just weren't perfect for them with their scenario. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I did learn. I mean, I certainly learned, but then he was really cool. And I said, that I specifically sent that email back to, your wife instead of you. I'm like, you intimidate me a little bit. He starts laughing. He goes, I'm not intimidating. His wife's like, yeah, you are. He's like a big sales guy, and I don't know. I guess I think I was like intimidated by him that he would like eat me alive or something, which is so weird because that felt like 22-year-old Beth, not like 50-something-year-old Beth.
Yeah.
And it was very strange how I was like intimidated by him when he's like a super cool dude. But he said the fact that you reached out and asked for ways that you can operate your business better, he's like, we will never work with another real estate agent.
Goosebumps.
And I'm like, okay. I mean, that makes me feel good. He goes, in fact, I'd already like sent your name to someone, and I haven't even told you about it yet, like one of my coworkers. So like that was really cool. And it was really hard to ask that question and
so
then send
hard.
that email. I'm like, I'm going to barf. I'm like, Carrie, my stomach hurts so bad. I'm like, but I have to know. And if I don't ask, I'll never, I mean, they might not give me an answer, and they might give me an answer that I hate, but I have to ask.
It's so brave.
I'm so glad
it's
that
brave.
I did.
To do that. It takes some courage to be able
Yeah.
to like put yourself out there like that and ask and like actually accept like any sort of criticism,
Yes.
right? And be
It's hard
okay
to
with
do.
it. And then, okay, so that's pretty mild, right? But then
Yeah.
is there still a different way I could approach this in the future? Like,
Right.
what can I gather from this? That's really great.
Right.
And it's so hard in any line of work to just like, we get so close to our work. It feels like our baby a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then when we're dealing with other people too and their emotions, my gosh, it's like, it just feels like there's so much there. There's like so much energy there, and you're not really quite sure like where to go with it or what to do. And we can get just too wrapped up in the emotion of business to actually think of it as a business.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's another situation that happened, and it wasn't something that happened specifically to me, but it revolved around one of our recent clients. We've talked about on the podcast and on social media this spring, we had 4 off-market sales, like all back to back to back. And one of them happened to be some clients that were a referral from like my Florida real estate family from when I sold real estate in Tampa. So it was like a family friend that got referred to me, and they had originally had talked to their neighbor. So they've lived in the same neighborhood for 20 years. And one of their neighbors is a real estate agent. And they talked to their neighbor, and their neighbor just like spit out a valuation without coming to see their home. And they had done tons of work to their home. And they're like, that seems a little weird. Well, their family in Florida, who I know, who I used to work with, said, your neighbor should come and see your house. It's hard to give you like an accurate valuation of your house if nobody's actually seen it. So then they reached out to me, and I'm like, sure. It was an hour drive to their home, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to give you a valuation over the phone without seeing your home and your property. That's not going to happen. I don't care if you're an hour or 2 hours away. I'm going to see your home. And they really appreciated the fact that I made the drive, and then we made this connection, and then they bought a new construction home. So then we had to sell their current home, and we ended up selling it off market. The day of closing, as they're moving out, the neighbor down the street, because there was never a for sale sign in their yard, but I'm sure through the grapevine, the realtor neighbor found out that the house sold. His wife came down and said, you know, it's too bad you didn't sell your house with so-and-so. We really could have used that commission check.
What?
And yeah,
what?
Chrissy's eyes are bugging out of her head. She's never even heard this story. And so I'm like, did the wife just come down on her own, or did the husband not have the cojones to go down and ask himself?
Wait, is the wife in real estate too?
No, her husband is the realtor, and he's the one that they live walking distance down the street. And he didn't think it was valuable enough to go over and give them a valuation in person and actually see their home in person, where the seller's a custom woodworker and he built all sorts of custom stuff in the house.
Oh, wow.
And so she came down on the day of closing, the realtor's wife, and said, why didn't you sell with so-and-so, my husband? We really could have used that commission check. And it's like,
okay,
whoa.
I'm not even going to break down the layers of wrong and awful.
Yeah.
I bet you they were so happy they did not work with them.
They said that they were like so thrown like by the balls of like that.
Gross.
Of her not coming to say like, oh, we're going to miss you as neighbors. They've lived in the neighborhood for 20 years. They raised their kids there. And the husband just said, we worked with someone that provided us a really, really great value, and she did a really great job, and that's why we chose to work with who we worked with.
Okay, realtors. There's some real talk here. Just because you're a realtor and just because you have a neighbor who's interested in selling,
that you've been friends with for 20 years,
20-year friend or a relative or a client you've worked with before, you do not own them, and they owe you nothing. So if they're a previous client, that transaction is done. You move on. If you haven't served them to the point to where they are dying to work with you again, it is on you. And this is like really hard to hear. Yeah. Same with family. Maybe there's some drama-y stuff, like you don't want to work with family. That's a whole nother thing. But we're not going to go on and on about that. But the reality is you didn't do something in your business that made them want to work with you. So like it's looking in the mirror, not going to the client and blaming them or getting mad or like upset or like this idea that they owe us something, which is fascinating to me. Really any line of work. Like if you hire someone to build your deck or you hire someone to like do any other service for you, once it's over, that's it. You paid and that's it. So there's no more payment or owing of any kind. So then how do you serve to get that business back?
Right.
And gosh, what a gross, weird example.
Crazy, right?
Gosh, yes. And wow.
I was just like, wow.
Awkward.
I'm like, that was probably not what you guys were expecting as you're rolling out of the neighborhood that you've loved for 20 years. And they like, yeah, that was really awkward. And I'm like, that's really unfortunate.
It's honestly humiliating.
Well, that's what, I don't know if he sent her down or if she just did it of her own free will, but that's weird for your closing day when you're like really excited about things, but
it's honestly really shitty. As a professional, as like in real estate, that's super shitty. And that's not really like holding your business to a standard, regardless if it comes from your spouse's mouth or yours. You know, everyone's connected. So like that's just like a gross, shitty way of doing business, and crappy as your neighbor. Like that's, I bet you they were like, peace out neighborhood after that. Like we're ready to go.
Well, they said just hearing her say that solidified even more that they made the right choice with who they decided to work with.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is,
you don't own your clients.
You don't own your clients. And there are many things, this happens to all of us, and there are many things we can be doing to prevent it from happening frequently.
Yep. Yeah. Asking the right questions, really like listening and like hearing what someone has to say. And if they work with someone else, like be a big enough person to approach them from a place of curiosity and not a place of like being accusatory. Like we really needed that commission check and like guilting someone into it.
Just listening to that, I'm like,
scarcity. Whoa. Whoa.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, you can learn something. I know I learned something for sure.
Every single time.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't make it hurt any less whatsoever.
So much of this is like inner work that we all need to be doing too, that's tied to our business. So the reality is, if you want to better your business, you better yourself, right?
100%.
That's how
it's
it
like
is.
The mic drop moment.
It is the mic drop moment. So maybe we can end with that.
Well, and if you're a real estate agent and if you have lost a deal, or maybe like one of your real estate besties has lost a deal recently and they're just like still feeling the sting, send this episode to them.
Yeah.
Maybe this will be the encouragement that they need to hear.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So until next time, bus bench babes.
Keep your face off a bus bench.
And keep being the badass boss babe that you are. Okay, girls. Are you feeling as inspired as we are? We're over here cheering you on because you just finished another episode of the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast.
If you want more, head over to girlgetyourfaceoffabusbench.com for show notes and more episodes. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. They mean the world to us, and they're what keep us going.
Girl, thanks for being here.